In this video, I'm going to be going over some important Premiere Pro preference settings you might want to consider changing inside the software. I do want to mention before we dive into this tutorial that if you're new to Premiere Pro, I did recently come out with a new online course for the software. It's a comprehensive guide to learn the software from beginning to end, so if you are interested, be sure to click the link to learn more. But without further ado, let's take a look at some of the Premiere Pro preference settings. So I'm inside Adobe Premiere Pro, and to get to the preference settings, you can go up to Premiere Pro Settings, and then you have the different options here. I'm going to click on General to get started, and you can see that you have the different tabs on the left-hand side. We'll first start in the General tab. Now, to be honest, a lot of these inside the General tab are up to personal preference. It depends if you want at startup to show home or open most recent project, and it's really up to you whether you want bins to open up in a new tab or maybe open in place or in a new window. But this is basically where you change some of the basic behaviors of Premiere Pro. When it comes to bins, the project, one option I like to leave on is show tooltips. So this displays tooltips, which can be very helpful for beginners inside Premiere Pro. I usually turn on show project log error dialog. And for best practices, I usually leave all these checked on. Let's go into the Appearance tab. Once again, this is up to personal preference. You have 3 different options in the latest version. You have darkest, dark, and light. I personally like darkest the most. And then you have accessible color contrast, which you can turn on or off if you wish. Next, you have AI models. Same thing here. When it comes to this tab, you don't really have to do that much. If you want to learn more about the AI models, you can click on this button here and you can read more about it. Next, let's go into audio. One of the big things in here that I like to either turn on or turn off, depends on your personal preference, once again, is to play audio while scrubbing in the source and program monitors. So if you're editing your project and you scrub the timeline, you might hear that scrubble sound. When you move the timeline, you hear kind of the audio, but it's kind of hard to understand what it is because you're just moving maybe a few frames at a time really fast. So if you want to mute that, this is where you go to do that. You can uncheck it if you don't want the audio playing, or if you do like hearing it, you can leave it on. I personally leave it on, but once again, it's up to personal preference. One other option you can take a look at in here is auto tag audio types in the timeline. So if you use the Essential Sound panel with this on, it'll automatically tag different audio clips in your timeline. But sometimes I found in the past that this is a little inaccurate. So if you find yourself needing to retag manually, you can uncheck this. It really depends on your type of audio clips. For the most part, most of the time it does a pretty decent job. It doesn't take too much time to retag something. That's it for this tab. Let's go into audio hardware. The one thing I wanted to point out in this tab is I would leave the default input and output on system default. That way, when you change your system settings inside your settings here, whether you're on a PC or Mac, it'll automatically update inside Adobe Premiere Pro. So you don't necessarily need to change it unless you really want to change it to a specific input and output. But I like to follow whatever the computer is doing, so that's why I leave it on system default. Next, let's go into autosave. So this is an important one. I usually like to leave this on. That way, Premiere Pro automatically saves and creates backups of my files. I usually choose every 5 minutes or so. And for the maximum project versions, you can choose a pretty high number here. They don't take up too much file size. So you can do maybe 20, or if you want even more, you can maybe do 99. And where this saves usually is right next to your Premiere Pro project. I'm just going into a Premiere Pro project of mine. And just to show you where these save in a folder right next to your project. So you can see that we have an autosave folder with all these Premiere Pro autosave projects. And let's say if this project gets corrupted, I can always go in here and open up the most recent version, usually at the bottom, and pick up my project from there. But that's autosave. Next, we have cloud media downloads. Usually I leave these on default. These are good for now. Let's go into collaboration. To be honest, you can probably skip this tab. We can skip control surface, graphics, and next we can go to labels. Labels is really up to personal preference. These are the label colors that you see in your timeline, and you can create your own label colors here. You can also change the default of the labels. So by default, the movie is set to iris, but you can change it to a different color. And you can also save your own presets or choose other presets from below. Next, let's go into media. So a few things to change in here. I like changing the default media scaling to fit to frame. The Premiere Pro default is none, and I like to fit to frame. That way it automatically scales up and down my clips when I add them to my timeline. Let's say if you work in a 4K sequence and maybe you have a 1080 clip that you have in your timeline. When you click and drag in the smaller clip, it automatically sizes it up. and vice versa. If you work in a 1080 sequence and you drag in a 4K clip, it'll automatically size it down, saving you time to have to go into the Effect Controls panel and scale up and down your media. The other thing I will uncheck in here is to automatically refresh growing files. Having this off helps Premiere Pro run a little bit better. Next, we can go to Media Analysis and Transcription. So this is where you can set up media analysis to have Adobe AI analyze all imported media in your project. If you don't want to have this on, you can check it off. I like having it on because I typically use the AI features in the search panel and all of that stuff. And then next, transcription. You can have Premiere Pro automatically transcribe your clips for you. So you can turn this on if you wish. Next, we have media cache. So this is an important section. So Premiere Pro keeps media cache files, but you have to choose where to save them. By default, it's saved to the Adobe Common folder, but you can choose a different folder if you wish, if it's taking up a lot of your space. You can change it to an external hard drive. That's a very popular option. For me, I like to leave it on my hard drive because I have a lot of storage space, so it's not a big deal for me, but if you have a computer that doesn't have a lot of storage space, you might want to consider changing it to a different drive. Same with media cache database. Now with the media cache, you do want to delete the files once in a while, and you can choose to remove media cache files by clicking on the delete button here. You can do this manually anytime you wish, or you can also have media cache management automatically delete the files after a certain period of time. So you can set maybe every 90 days, or maybe once it reaches a certain gigabyte threshold. Whatever works in your workflow, you can set up in this setting here. Next, let's go to memory. So this section here shows the allocation of RAM to other applications and to your Adobe Creative Cloud applications. And the one thing that you can change is here is the RAM preserved for other applications. So I typically keep this down as low as possible. You can see I have 128 gigabytes of RAM installed, and 12 gigabytes of the RAM are reserved for other apps. And then 116 is shared between Premiere Pro and the other applications. So a good rule of thumb here is just keep this as low as possible, depending on how much RAM you have. Next, you have playback. The one thing I like to uncheck in here is to pause media encoder during playback, so I leave that off. If you ever render out a project inside Adobe Media Encoder and you want to continue editing in Premiere Pro with it on, you'll notice that Adobe Media Encoder will pause its rendering whenever you click play on the timeline. And in most cases, I want Media Encoder to keep rendering while I edit another project or maybe in another sequence inside Premiere Pro. So I like having this off. And if you're wondering why Media Encoder is pausing, that's probably why. Next, we can go into plugins. For this, I leave this off and we can go to timeline. There's a lot of settings in here that I would change or take a look at. First, you have video transition default duration. So if you want to change how long the video transition default is, you can change it here. By default, it's 12 frames. You can choose from frames to seconds. And for audio transition default, I like to do 2 frames. That way I can automatically add audio transition defaults to all my clips. And this is a good way to silence or remove pops in between the cuts of my audio clips. Next, you have still image default duration. The default's set to 5, but where this can come in handy is, let's say if you have maybe a slideshow that you're creating. Maybe each image has to be 8 seconds long. You can change it in here, add all your clips to your timeline, and they're all 8 seconds long. You don't have to change anything. So this can come in handy depending on how long you want the default for the still images to be. Then if we go down over here, I like to turn off at playback and return to beginning when restarting playback. The reason I like to turn this off is that when I reach the end of my timeline, I don't want it to go back to the beginning when it reaches the end because I'm usually editing something at the end. So this is just helpful for me to stay in that area near the end of my sequence when I'm editing in that area. I also like turning on display out of sync indicators for unlinked clips. This is helpful if you have video and audio clips. When they're out of sync, it'll add a little badge to show you that the clips are out of sync. And also I uncheck play after rendering previews. So whenever you hit return or enter on your keyboard to render something out, once it's done, it'll automatically play it back at the beginning. I like to leave this off because just in case if I step away from my computer, that way it's not playing in the background and I'm not attended to it. And lastly, you have trim. We can skip this for now. And that's pretty much all the preference settings that I would change or take a look at inside Premiere Pro. Be sure at the end that you click OK to save your settings. So those are some of the settings that I would take a look at to change inside Premiere Pro. Now, if you're new to Premiere Pro, there's several tutorials on my channel. I will leave one that you might like linked right up there. Feel free to go check that one out. But that does it for this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.